Hello and welcome back to the True North Canadian Football Podcast. I am your host, Jimmy Leach. You can follow me on Twitter at Jimmy Leach CFL.
I'm Taylor Curry, and you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Taylor Curry SK.
And I'm Carter Kennington. You can follow me on Instagram at Carter Kennington, on Twitter at CJK_Carter, and you can hear me on the air on the weekends at CFRY Mix 96 and Country 93 in Portage La Prairie. Plug done.
Nice. Carter getting those radio plugs. I like it.
Let's go.
And then you can follow us on social media at True North CF Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And you can also follow our Facebook page at True North Canadian Football Podcast. You can listen to this show on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. So let's jump into the news for this week. And we're going to do the most pressing matter first here. As of the day of recording, August 25th, there have been 11 Edmonton Elks players that have caught COVID. And due to that, their game against Toronto has been postponed, date unknown. So let's discuss.
Well, the league said that if you get COVID and you cause the game to be done, you forfeit. So I think it should be shut and dry, but the league is dragging this out. So, I don't know. Edmonton didn't do a good job at protecting their team and biting them in the butt now. So it's really going to be interesting to see if they do a makeup game, even though they've already said you should just forfeit, or if they make Edmonton forfeit.
I mean, it's super cut and dry to me, and I don't understand why the CFL's waiting on it, because if a team just didn't show up to a locker room one day on game day, it would be a forfeit. They wouldn't try to reschedule it, not in a league like the CFL. So why is it any different just because it's COVID? Like,
True.
you knew the rules, and you still went around them, and and now we're in this situation.
Yeah, like depending on what the CFL does here, I'm ready to call them all bark and no bite, because they also said, if you were misleading with depth charts and injury reports, you'd lose draft picks and get fined and stuff, and that never happened to BC. And now we're having this situation where they said, okay, well, you're not going to get paid and you're going to forfeit the game. And now it's looking like they're just going to do something weird here. I thought they were just going to reschedule to Sunday or Wednesday and try to play within the week, but it's looking like this is going to get played later down the road, which, I don't know, it's just dumb to me. I think they should just have to forfeit this game because, well, can they field 36 players within this week? If the answer is yes, then throw whatever players they have out there on maybe Sunday or Wednesday or something like that. And if they don't, okay, you forfeit, that's done. They shouldn't be having to bend over backwards to reschedule. That isn't fair to the Argos, who have clearly been following the rules and done everything right. You shouldn't be screwing them over. And it's not like Edmonton hasn't had a problem until this moment. They've had, I think, 3 players having, not to play due to COVID in past weeks, one of them being Sir Vincent Rogers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this has been a repeat issue for Edmonton, and now it's starting to affect the schedule, and yeah, why are they just not forfeiting this game is what I want to know. And then let's jump into the next news. Dane Evans is starting for Hamilton this week. So what do we think? How is that going to affect the outcome of this game?
Well, I was Team Mazzoli at the start of the season, and he just hasn't proved it yet. I mean, Hamilton's only put 14 points on the boards in their games they've played this year. Just their offense isn't clicking. That O-line is not good, and I mean, I hope Dane Evans does well, but with that O-line, the way they're playing right now, it doesn't seem like a quarterback could play successfully behind them right now. So I think it could be scary for them in Montreal this week.
Yeah, I think I was on the contrast, I was team Dane Evans going into this season, and looking at their woes, yes, I think Dane Evans deserves a start, but I don't think that Dane Evans is going to do too great in the situation because I don't think Masoli was the problem. I don't think Masoli was why they were losing games.
Yeah, I don't think he was the problem, but he didn't help either, in my opinion. Like, he wasn't great. But I guess the quarterback changes often motivate a team to play better. So we'll see if that's the case for Hamilton, or if it's going to be same old, you know, what are they going to do? Because usually it's like, okay, let's fire the team up by putting in the new quarterback, and then if they also don't play well, do some heads start rolling and do some coaches start getting fired.
Mm.
And then
that's yeah.
Speaking of Hamilton, Jaguar Davis can't play due to accidental breaking of COVID protocols. So he's out. Obviously, that's a huge loss for Hamilton, and Montreal is much happier because they're not going to get a lot of pressure from that defensive line if Jaguar Davis is out. So huge dub for Montreal.
Yeah, and like the coach just said, he violated a league protocol, and it wasn't an intentional thing, and it's the result of it. So, yeah, they don't really say what he does, so I'm curious to know what he did. But yeah, that's a big blow for Hamilton and their defense going into this week.
I mean, accidentally, you got to be more careful. This is your job. You're a professional.
Yeah.
If I accidentally plagiarize something, I'm still going to get crap for it as a writer.
100%.
So I don't feel bad.
Fair enough. Neither do I.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get paid to play a game that, everybody would love to. So take it seriously or get out, And then let's get into the games from last week. The Edmonton Elks get their first dub of the season by defeating defeating BC, 21-16. My first question, is Edmonton back to form? Keep in mind, ignore the
go ahead.
COVID stuff. Ignore the COVID stuff, focus on that game. Did they look like their old selves,
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at James Wilder, 127 yards on the ground. Greg Ellingson at 150. Trevor Harris had a 84% completion rate and threw a touchdown. And yeah, their offense was clicking. They were throwing the ball around. Their defense played really well. Like, what was it? Jake Sersna, he had those 2 sacks. Yeah, they looked really well. And I think that's what they hopefully will be this year.
I wouldn't call it a return to form just because I want to see them do it just one more. There's some teams, it's a thing where it's like you have to see them perform kind of like with Ottawa. I want to see them win a couple before I really think that they're in an upper echelon.
Yeah.
But like with Edmonton, I think if they just have one more performance like that, who do they play the week after? What's their next? Their next game's going to be against Calgary. So that I think could be a pretty good litmus test to where we see both of those teams.
Yeah, for me,
no doubt.
Let me think. I kind of agree there with that is going to be the litmus test. I think their big key to success was they got Ellingson going, and this is kind of spoiling our last question, but I think that was their big reason for being successful, is starting to get those connections back from the 2019 season that were not there the first 2 games they played. So, to me, they definitely looked closer to form, but I do want to see them in the Battle of Alberta. And then, what went wrong for BC this game?
Well, that O-line's looking pretty holy, and the fact that they could not get the run game started at all, like Shaq Cooper only had 35 yards on 6 carries, and his longest rush was a 20-yarder, so they he had one big play, but that was it, and again, not being able to protect Mike Riley, he only ended up with a 62% completion rate. That's not going to win you a game typically. And they have to do better on offense. Their defense doesn't look the worst, but their offense definitely needs some work for sure.
It's so weird because it was like I thought that they had fixed it from 2019, sort of like going into this year. It wasn't terrible. Like it got pretty good at the end of 2019, and to begin this year, I'd say it was like average for the first 2 weeks. I don't know what happened. Like maybe I'm wrong on that, but it's weird. Like I feel like they're regressing back to what they were at the like through majority of 2019.
For me, I think probably getting the run going was the biggest problem. They weren't calling a lot of runs, and to be fair, this was Shaq Cooper's first game back, so he's got rust to shake off. And as the game went on, he definitely got a bit more explosive. Like you mentioned, that 20-yard run that was coming later on in the game. And for me, that was probably BC's biggest issue was they couldn't run a balanced attack, so the O line kind of suffered as a result because the D line could just in back and go at them, especially with Edmonton, who their D line is kind of low key underrated, one of the better ones in the league. So
yeah,
that's probably the biggest problem there. And then kind of already gave my answer for this, but what improved for Edmonton that week as compared to the week before?
Well, for me, I'm gonna say it was protecting Trevor Harris and letting him be comfortable in the pocket. Like he had an 84% completion rate through about 300 yards. Like it just when they give him time, he can get the ball anywhere, and it showed.
Yep. I mean, Trevor Harris is going to be the team or the guy that wills the team into the playoffs. You could surround him by as many people as you want, but at the end of the day, his ability to be in the pocket and to just accurately be and like consistently be one of the best quarterbacks in the league is what's going to will the Edmonton Elks into the playoffs this year. So I think if they just keep doing what they're doing now, they shouldn't have a problem, but I'm just scared that they won't be able to keep this up.
Yeah, I like their defense. Their offense was not clicking the first 2 weeks, and it looked like, they're starting to find that chemistry that they had lost in 2019. Like I mentioned earlier, they got Greg Ellison going. While there's obviously been a great addition, and he's been great regardless. So, love to see that, and I think those were kind of the keys to success was getting that Harris to Ellingson connection going again. So hopefully they can build off that game against BC whenever they play next. And then let's go to the next game here. Montreal lost in an absolute thriller to Calgary that literally came down to the final second. Calgary won this game 28-22. So our first question is, what are your thoughts on this decision to start very, very raw rookie Jake Mayer over Canadian quarterback Michael O'Connor?
Well, I'd like to say, before that game started, 10 minutes into the game, I went into our notes and I put, how about that decision to start Mayer over O'Connor? And I put a bunch of laughing faces. But by the third quarter, I mean, I was eating my words, and that guy won them the game. Montreal lost that game, but he helped them win because he played great and showed some real poise in the pocket. And when they let him throw it, he showed that he could. So I think it's going to be interesting. Like I'm excited to see him play and see where he goes from here.
Calgary's on drugs. All of them are on drugs. I hate it. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And like full respect to Meyer, of course, full respect to Meyer, but like, dude, come on, give us something. Just put Calgary down there for a little bit. Like, Calgary is like, people will say that, like, I would say a casual watcher would say that Saskatchewan is the model franchise, and I would say that anybody that really watches Canadian football would say that Calgary is the model franchise just because of how consistently good they've been. And it's like, just give us 1 year, man. Like,
Yep.
give us 1 year. But no, super well done. Amazing work.
Yeah, for me, dude looked bad in the first half, especially that first quarter. Like, I was like, how is O'Connor not in when he threw, like, I think he threw 2 or 3 interceptions. He almost threw another one where
He
I think
threw 2 in the first quarter.
yeah, because one went through DB's hands or whatever, and it's like, oh man, this guy looks bad. And then you saw O'Connor warming up. I'm like, all right, finally getting in some action from the Canadian. But then he put a couple drives together and kind of was able to stay in. And then the second half, it's like a switch flipped, and dude looked like a seasoned vet out there, just making plays and throwing absolute dimes to guys. And I don't know, I still would have liked to have seen Michael O'Connor, but I'm curious which Jake Mayer we see against Winnipeg now that we have tape on him. Are we going to see first half Jake Mayer against that Bombers defense, which is probably the best in the league, or are we going to see second half absolutely murdering defenses Jake Mayer?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just feel like that's a interesting one. I'm not ready to crown him yet, but
No.
we'll see what he does against the Bombers. That's my litmus test for him. And then
Mm-hmm.
the obvious question is, what went wrong for Montreal?
It comes down to one word in my opinion, and it's penalties. I can't find the numbers exactly in front of me, but they had 20 to 22 penalties for almost 200 yards, and it was always at the worst times. They were getting 15-yard objectionable conducts in the fourth quarter and the third quarter when they were trying to drive on offense and defense, and it bit them in the butt at the end of the game because Stanback didn't play bad. Vernon had a good game. The receivers played good. Defense held them for as long as they can, but the penalties killed them.
To put in perspective, I was able to quickly scroll onto the website. I found the numbers. Total penalties were 16 for 149 yards as opposed to 9 for 80 yards.
Exactly. Like, that's just, you can't win a game that way.
Yeah. And then for me, I am 100%, or not 100%, but like the penalties were a big factor, but I think some blame also goes to Vernon Adams, who definitely did not have his best game. He had a completion percentage below 50%, and I think even he would tell you that was not a good game for him, where, you know, he really didn't start to come on until, honestly, the second half, and that last drive was peak Vernon Adams, but before that, he really was not doing anything. And I think that's probably why Montreal lost this game. If we had seen the Vernon Adams we saw in the latter part of the second half, the whole game, Montreal smokes Calgary out of the building. But we didn't. Montreal just wasn't able to put drives together early, and eventually Calgary capitalized. And to be fair, Montreal did start to put it together, but it was too late by that time. Calgary had already kind of sealed the game. And then that last drive, is that an all-time, you know, CFL moment?
Oh, absolutely. The way that ended, and like, he caught the ball in the end zone, but the ball was not in the end zone, so it wasn't a touchdown. And like, that was the debates that went on for a while until people could clarify the rules and stuff. Yeah, that it was just classic CFL moment, exactly like you said.
That's crazy. I'm looking at it now, and even right now, I'm like, he caught it, and his feet are in the end zone. So so that goes against everything that I know as a CFL guy.
Because ball's got to cross the plane.
Same.
Yeah, you think about it because it's weird where it's like, you know, he's like, in my head, I'm always thinking about those plays where it's like they're in like the back part of the end zone and the ball may be out of play, but they get their feet down.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's weird because those don't count as out of bounds. It's like, I don't know.
And that's like, if he would have fallen more to the right, like, it could have been a touchdown if he kind of would have caught it and fell out of bounds. Like, it just, that was crazy.
If he was a yard deeper into the end zone, man, That's a whole nother. Well, actually, it probably is the same discussion.
Well,
Like,
and to add on to your point you were saying where you kind of said it was Vernon's fault, I heard some stuff that people said that kind of like that throw, like you just said, if he would have thrown it another yard or two deeper, it would have been a touchdown and Montreal wins the game. But
oh, I'm
Vernon
not
did
putting
not
that
throw a
on
good.
Vernon. I'm putting
Oh,
that on
well,
the
I heard
receiver
that on.
for running a deeper route.
I heard that on, I believe, TSN. Some of the commentators were blaming him for the throw.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame VA for that. I'm going to blame the receiver because honestly,
How? He's
you
diving
shouldn't
outward.
be running the route. You should be running the route deeper in the end zone. That would be my criticism as a receiver. You should be aware of
I don't think
the
the ball was there, though.
situation and could he have caught that ball in the end zone? Yes. The answer is yes, but he was a bit too he wasn't deep enough in the end zone, I guess, and that was why they lost. And it was a great catch. Like, no disrespect to
No,
PJ
I'm looking at
Lewis,
the.
but I
I'm
mean,
sorry, but I'm looking at the replay. The ball gets thrown and he has to backtrack to get to it.
Yeah.
oh, did he? Okay, I
Yep.
might have to reevaluate that then. But still, it's just
Because he had to come out of the end zone to get it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But overall, VA didn't have a great game. I'm sure he'd probably be the first to tell you that, and I think that's a big factor in why this is a Montreal loss. And as for an all-time, CFL moment, yes, this absolutely is. So let's jump into the next game. The Argos beat Winnipeg at BMO Field, 30-23, and then. So the obvious question after Winnipeg kind of shut down Toronto the week before is, what went wrong for Winnipeg this week?
Well, I think it's a bit of the same problem from previous games, but not for Winnipeg just during the week. But they couldn't get the run game going. Like Brady is a great running back, but they couldn't get him moving. He only had 30 yards, and that's just going to trouble you. And I don't think Zach had his best game either, so that didn't help. But like the defense held their own. They actually put points on the board. But yeah, I don't think their offense clicked as well as they should, and it cost them.
So I think that I agree with what you said, but I'm just going to elaborate a little bit further from what I think happened. I think that actually it was the secondary that got exposed that started this whole thing because Toronto was able to turn it into a shootout, and then Winnipeg couldn't keep up because they couldn't do. Basically, when Toronto took the early lead, Winnipeg had to start trying to match them quickly, so they weren't able to establish a proper running game. And by the time they tried to do that, it was just too late. So I think that Toronto did a really good job turning the game into just like a passing shootout, which Winnipeg, I mean, Caleros is a good quarterback, but I mean, they're just not prepped. That's not their game plan. And anybody who knows anything about Winnipeg will tell you that their game plan is very run centric on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. So I think that Toronto did a really good job jumping out to an early lead and just forcing Winnipeg to keep up when Winnipeg weren't able to do that. Winnipeg are really good as the aggressors. They're not good when they're put on the back foot.
I kind of agree with all of that. I think you hit it on the head.
Yeah, good points, man.
Because, my point too is you got to establish the run, which cliche statement, I know, but especially for a run-centric team like Winnipeg, that's true. And like you said, they kind of had to make Zach make plays, and he's been great this year, but he just wasn't able to match what Toronto was bringing. And
Zach is good when he gets to pass, not when he needs to pass. That's another thing I'll say.
That excellent point, actually. That's better than I could have phrased it. I just combine that with not being able to run the ball very well, because I think was the biggest factors for Winnipeg in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll probably bounce back. They'll figure out how to establish the run and have that pass and attack work more effectively. Mike O'Shea is a smart coach, so
Well, and like nothing against Brady, but once Andrew comes back, it's a completely different ball game too.
Oh,
That is
100%.
true.
He's just a different beast. That's all.
Yeah, like, Oliveira's been good, but Andrew Harris is a monster, so we'll see what happens.
He's just, Brady is not the threat that Andrew is through the air and on the ground. So, you got to watch out a lot more for Andrew on every aspect of the field where not that he's one dimensional because he's a good running back, but he runs. So it's like, you can plan a lot better than that, whereas Andrew can go for the deep ball and run on short yardage.
Part of that is that Oliveira went to an American school, and for whatever reason in the States, they like to have a catching running back and like a running back. Which it makes no sense to me or anyone else that watches Canadian football, but it's like, that's just how it is in the States, and it's obvious which of those two backs that he was. So I do want to see more from him in the receiving game, but yeah, I think when Andrew Harris gets back, the Bombers are going to look a lot better, and I'm betting he's probably back for Labor Day or the Banjo Bowl.
He's been practicing a lot more recently. He might even be back on Sunday.
True. We'll have to see what O'Shea does for sure.
He's been posting on social media and stuff. I think he's going to play the next game.
Oh, man.
Or they save him for Labor Day.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The next one, do the Argos look better with Arbuckle?
I don't want to say yes, but they did. I was Team McLeod Bethel Thompson, but Nick Arbuckle threw for 300 yards and a touchdown, and when he wasn't getting attacked by that Winnipeg defense, he had some good poise and good confidence in there, and he played really well.
I'm going to say yes with an asterisk because, again, you're playing a team in a home and home, and you're playing a team that just beat you in the first half of that home and home. So you're going in there with a ton of things like Winnipeg. I don't think Winnipeg gets sloppy, but Winnipeg doesn't have as much things that they can work on as Toronto would have, whereas Toronto is seeing everything that went right for Winnipeg, and they know how to counteract that. It's hard to judge a team when you beat them the first time because you're just looking at everything that went wrong for them. So I think, yes, they looked better with Arbuckle, but I think the team would have looked better with McLeod Bethel Thompson in the situation anyway. Do they get the win? Maybe not, but I don't think the result is I don't think the points differential is much different. I still think Toronto wins.
For me, I'm going to say yes with a little bit more confidence because when Arbuckle came into the game last week, or not even last week, but the week before against Winnipeg, he also looked a lot better than MBT, and he looked really good this game as well. He built off that against Winnipeg, so I'm going to say yeah, and I think he played himself into the starting job there, so hopefully he builds off that this week. And then, I don't know, the last question, do we want to do that one, or do we want to skip it?
I'm all right.
Just to bring it up to people listening, if Zach Collaros is slowing down, I don't necessarily think so. It's one bad game. I don't think it's worth talking about it.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think he's slowing down at all. He still looks good to me.
Yeah, one game. Can't be perfect every game, right?
Yeah. And then let's go on to, as Derek Taylor predicted, guaranteed win night for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, defeating the Ottawa Redblacks 23-10. And then let's get into our first point here. Why the slow start for Saskatchewan?
I think just Winnipeg, not Winnipeg.
Ottawa's. I get it.
Yeah, it's just confusion there. Yeah, but no, I don't think Ottawa's defense is that bad. Honestly, they have Avery Williams, Don Unamba, Pernod, Micah Alway, friend of the show. They're just their defense isn't the worst, but they can only keep up for so long when their offense, puts 3 points up in a half and then 7 the second half. So you can only do so much with that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the box score because I want to see what happened here. It's just, I feel so bad for Matt Nichols. He goes 19 for 24, almost an 80%. 176 isn't great. No touchdowns to one pick is not great, but a long of 42, not a terrible thing, but
better than 70 yards the week before.
Yeah,
you know.
I feel so bad for him because like I know I will say this. I think he's having a poor start to the year, and I personally believe so much that he can do better.
My
Um,
personal opinion is if I showed you all the quarterbacks that have played in week 1 without any context and you had no knowledge of the CFL and said, guess which of these guys has a shoulder injury? You wouldn't say Michael Riley. You would say Matt Nichols because he was bad week 1.
That's
And
fair, but I mean,
he
but there
was
were rumors
better
that he
this
also
week,
had an
but
injury
still.
though, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got
so
arm or
Yeah,
shoulder
well,
or
there was
something.
rumors, but there
Adelaide,
was
the man,
nothing
the man
official,
with the
right?
No,
yeah,
but I
but like,
thought there was still stuff lingering from like when he left originally.
Well,
when he
if there
broke his arm
there
last
was
year.
Yeah.
nothing on the injury report, and yeah, he did
Not
not look good.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Who do you want to risk starting? Do you want to have Dom Davis, a guy who you know is not going to perform, or do you want to have Matt Nichols, a guy who can at least like he's shown that he can lead a team to a very positive record? Because
yeah.
like I stand by the fact that I believe Matt Nichols would have done the job Caleros did and won the cup in that year. I think that he would have done it, but
Well, and like
I don't think so, but that's a discussion for another day.
yeah,
but it's like they're doing a lot of it's a brand new quarterback. I know he's been with Paul LaPolice before, but you got a brand new running back, new wide receivers you're getting to know and stuff. Like there's a lot more factors for him this year, and I don't think it's all his fault. Like they haven't gelled yet.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. And then this is supposed to be about why Sask started slow. I know we're dumping into Ottawa a little bit too early here.
oh true, yeah.
So I just love that. It's like we're supposed to discuss is Saskatchewan. What's wrong with Saskatchewan? We're
I
just
don't know if there.
bagging
The
on
thing is, I
Ottawa.
don't know if there is something wrong with Saskatchewan. Like a team's gonna have a slow start. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think the reason was they did not get the running game started at all. Like I think William Powell only had 20 yards on the ground. Like that's
Yeah,
a
he did.
Averaged a whole
yikes.
2 yards a carry. His longest run was 5.
That's a yikes, man. Like I don't know if age is catching up with him or Ottawa's defense or what it was, but
It's
man.
Ottawa's defense. Like they're not that bad. Go on to the
Let's
next question.
jump into this next question. Yeah, I was about to say, is Ottawa's defense legit this year?
Yes, like that's their defense. Like they've had that kind of same core for a while there now, and I don't think they're that bad. But like I said, they can only keep up for so long. Like if you think of the games, like the first half the Riders have had so far this season, they held us to 9 points and a half. Like that's really good for the first half, and that gave their offense a chance to do something. But Timothy Flanders could only get 35 yards all game, and then believe he got injured too. So. But yeah, like their defense, I think, is really good. It's just they can only keep up so long, and when their offense keeps going 2 and out, 2 and out, 2 and out, 2 and out, they're tired, and they can only keep up for so long.
Yeah,
It's just it's unfortunate, and like it's tough because I think that this Ottawa team, I think that they could make the playoffs in the East Division in the past 4 years, but probably not this year. It's a shame because
Yeah.
the East was so weak that I feel like this Ottawa probably could have made the playoffs, like if they start gelling. But I think even just like week 3, with how like surprisingly strong the East looks, they're gonna have to turn it around basically next week and onwards in order to really be competitive.
Unless Hamilton keeps up this losing,
True, I guess.
because right now they're in third place. Like Ottawa's in third.
True, but do we have the crossover this year or not? With Calgary, really, or BC, kind of.
Ooh,
It's iffy,
That's true.
And then Ottawa's defense, for me, their defense is in the upper echelon of the league, in my opinion. But that offense is like a tier below the entire league. Like it's an XFL, offense, not a CFL one for me. Like you have some pieces like RJ Harris, is a really good receiver on any CFL team, but besides him, what is there in Ottawa that you would kind of take for any other team on that offense, Like, would I take Matt Nichols over Cody Fajardo? Hell no. Would I take their running back Timothy Flanders over William Powell? Probably not. They're I don't know. The rest of that team doesn't seem very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's jump into our last question. Is Jonathan Woodard the real deal, as we've been jokingly calling him Dollarama Willie Jefferson?
Well, I was just going to actually say it's really weird to say that Willie Jefferson's not even in the top 10 for sacks right now.
Ooh, is there a site for that? Could I see that?
CFL.ca.
Yeah, CFL.ca. Go to stats. Yeah.
So it's
just
okay.
Okay.
Jonathan Woodard has first place with 5. Jeff Coates second with 3. Also with AC Leonard with 3. Also from the Riders, Garrett Marino with 3. And then there's Jake Sursa for Edmonton, and it keeps going on and on. But yeah, I think Woodard, he's an NFL guy, just kind of didn't work out there. And now he's playing here, try to get back down there. So yeah, he is playing good. I'm happy he's on my team. I think he is the real deal for sure.
Let me just say, I am a little bit mind blown. I went a little bit further in the stats, and a good friend of the show is Jackson Jeffcoat. He leads the league with 4 forced fumbles. Second place is like a 9-way tie with 1.
Nice.
That says something. Yeah,
that's
that man
wild.
is
tough. Anyway, back to Saskatchewan. What, like 3 games in, 5 sacks? That's a ridiculous stat.
Dude's only played 2 games, actually. He didn't play week 1.
He didn't play
really?
Week 1?
Yep. He didn't play week 1. He wasn't even on the roster. He's on the practice roster.
Like, I'm sure, like, if anybody who doesn't watch football is listening to this podcast, first of all, how did you get here? And second of all, getting 1 sack a game is a wild stat.
Hold, I gotta correct Mike here, though. He did play week 1.
I swear he didn't. Like,
I'm looking at the Riders website right now. He had 1 defensive tackle week.
Pull up the depth chart. I swear he didn't play week 1.
I'll pull something up here.
Because I swear they pulled him off the practice roster that week.
When was that?
I'm actually going to look. Let me see. Oh! Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, wait. What game is this? Oh, August 6th. Yeah, versus the Lions. Yeah, okay. Correction, he was.
Yeah.
On the roster for that week. I don't know why. I only thought he played 2 games, but
I mean,
yeah, he
3
was
games
like a
in the
depth
CFL.
guy. He was a depth guy in that first week, and then second week he got some work in and had the 3 sack and 1 forced fumble, which arguably could have been defensive player of the week there, but we gave it to Nichols of Winnipeg. So yeah, I think he's the real deal, man. Like, if you would have asked me who of the new guys was gonna be the best D end, I would have said Anthony Lanier, because in the NFL he was actually somewhat productive and he's got that Willie Jefferson size. But he's still chilling on the practice roster, and Woodard is absolutely murdering dudes. So you love to see it, man. And then let's jump into our power rankings. For obvious reasons, Saskatchewan has moved to number 1 in my power rankings, and I don't want to hear any smoke about, 2 of you are Rider fans, blah, 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 because we had Winnipeg as number 1 for the last 2 weeks, so I don't want to hear
I had Winnipeg as number 1,
that.
and I had Winnipeg as number 1, and I was a Bomber fan. I don't have them there anymore. It's logical.
Yep. Toronto to number 2, man, that feels weird. Just from our prediction show, that just feels weird. Winnipeg number 3, Montreal number 4, BC 5, Calgary 6th, Edmonton 7th, Ottawa 8th, and Hamilton, the only team without a win this year, is in the basement.
Yeah, no, I mean we're all sitting pretty close on the same ideas here. Yeah, like I got Sask number 1, the only undefeated team in the league. Then we got Toronto 2, Winnipeg 3, and that's just because Toronto beat them last week. And yeah. Montreal at 4, BC 5, Edmonton 6, Calgary 7, Ottawa 7th, and Hamilton 8th because they are the dumpster fire of the league right now.
Hamilton 9.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, I can't do math apparently.
It's okay. So I've got Sask in first. I enjoyed when the Bombers were in first in it, so I'm gonna let y'all enjoy when Sask rightfully deserves to be number 1 in it. I do have Winnipeg in second though, just because I feel like again Toronto mainly won because it's a back half of a home and home. Like, you know. I do have Toronto in third. I have Montreal in fourth, BC in fifth, Calgary in sixth. I have Ottawa in seventh. I still think that they're better than Edmonton because they beat Edmonton, but I have Edmonton in eighth and Hamilton now in ninth.
That's definitely fair. And then let's move on to our CFL Fantasy. So, as we were going through power rankings, I was scrambling to get rid of all the Elk and Argos that were in here, and I apologize if I miss any. So we're going to go at quarterback. Your options are basically this week Michael Riley and Jake Mayer, I think, are the only viable options this week. Are you guys picking anybody else?
Yeah, man. I got Dane Evans as my quarterback this week against Montreal.
Really?
Their front seven's not bad, but those DBs can get lit up sometimes. So maybe this is the click that Hamilton needs, and they'll start rolling. I'm betting on it this week.
I don't like the concept of putting Meyer against the angry. Is it Mayer or Meyer?
I think it's Mayer, isn't it?
Oh, there we go.
Jake
Maybe
Mayer.
Then it's Jake Mayer. We'll go with that.
Okay, so I don't like the idea of having Mayer as as your quarterback right now against an angry Winnipeg. I don't think that's smart. I get that it's a value pick at quarterback, and that's really valuable sometimes. But I would more surefire bet. I am going with Michael Riley, and it's funny how I'm talking about surefire bets, and I picked the BC quarterback. So we're just gonna move along from that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm picking Michael Riley this week. So if Rourke suddenly shows up and starts playing, I'm not going to be a happy camper, man.
Right, yeah.
But,
just keep an eye.
Yeah, just keep an eye, and hopefully there's no last-second changes this week and BC does something stupid again. But we'll see. And then the running backs. You only really have two viable options this week, in my opinion. You got William Stanback at $7,755 and Kadeem Carey at $6,429. What do you guys think of that? Like, are those?
No, I was just gonna say I think that's all you can do this week, unless they announce Andrew Harris is gonna play. Just Kadeem Carey and William Stanback seems to be the combo this week.
Yeah, no, I mean, with running backs, let me see who I've got. I'm just pulling up my my running backs. I'm actually going. I'm probably gonna have to change this now that I'm looking at it. I have both Calgary guys in actually. Let me
Interesting.
Yeah, I've got Kadeem Carey and Milanovic Litre, but I'm gonna have to take one out probably because I don't think they're both gonna have good games. Actually,
I want to take that Litre guy out.
Yeah. Well, it's just tough because I had Wilder in, and it was like a perfect fit for the team, and then COVID,
and they postponed the game.
Yeah,
but that's I do have Kadeem Carey though. I'm gonna stick with them.
As for the other running backs you could really consider picking this week, Sean Thomas Erlington, I want to see one more game with him, with Dane in there to see if maybe he starts to produce. Shaq Cooper, I think he'll be better this week, but again, I want to see it. And as for Ottawa's running back, Timothy Flanders, man, I don't know with him because he was not doing well against the Riders, and then they kind of put Devontae Dedmon in at running back, and he started playing well. So, what happens next week, I'm not sure. So I'm going to just avoid that situation altogether.
Well, hold on. Let's just. I was going to say too. Timothy Flanders didn't practice on today.
Oh, okay. That's
interesting development.
Yeah, he didn't practice Tuesday or Wednesday. with a hip injury. So yeah, he might not even be going this week.
There we go. I found my replacement. I'm taking Chris Rainey.
Oh,
that's a
God.
good pick. Yeah.
No,
Return
that is
yards?
not the move. Do not go for return yards. That is a mistake, my guy.
I'm looking at. I don't want to do a whole overhaul. I'm just too lazy. I'm just looking for somebody
we'll
who
go,
fills
we'll
the
go
hole.
off air and I'll do a makeup of your lineup later.
Okay. Cool.
And then for wide receiver, I've got Lucky Whitehead at $7,009. Eddie Lawler at $6,597. Jake Weineke at $6,554. Lamar Durant at $6,076. I've got BJ Cunningham at $5,870. And Josh Hupp at $4,690. So is there anyone there that I missed?
Yes.
Oh, who?
And his name is Rashid Bailey for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Bailey?
So he may not be getting the yards like
He's
week
gotten
1.
some touchdowns.
Yeah, well here's the thing. So week 2, 4 catches, 57 yards and a touchdown. So he gets 15 points. And then last week 4 catches, 30 yards and a touchdown, 13 points. So he's not a bad pick for under $4,000 to have.
I guess, but for me,
Like,
I'm not chasing touchdowns. Because for touchdowns, you know, they're fickle. You want to get guys who get yards. And for me, my 3 receivers are Lamar Durant, Josh Huff, and BJ Cunningham, because I was going to go with Shaq Cooper, but I like BJ Cunningham having that nice low floor. Or I guess a high floor, sorry. But the other receivers, when Michael Riley plays, Lamar Durant gets a crap ton of targets. So he's a nice option if you're looking for a guy in the 6,000 range. And Josh Huff seemed to have a lot of chemistry with Jake Mayer. So he's a guy that I would look at as a nice option there if you want to go for a cheaper receiver. So those are my guys. But yeah, I don't know. I don't chase touchdowns. Winnipeg had a good enough week yards-wise that, okay, you can go and play him because he's a guy that normally makes his money off touchdowns, but he also got a crap ton of yards and, you know, had a lot of chemistry with VA, especially early in that game. So, yeah, he's a guy that I would look to again. And then for defense special teams, I just have the Winnipeg defense at 4,700 because, well, it's a rookie quarterback, right? So, you know, you gotta. I think if you're gonna pick a defense, you gotta pick Winnipeg's. But what do you guys think?
I was gonna say, maybe if you want a cheaper defense, go for Montreal's. Hamilton's got the weak O line right now. You know, they got Dane Evans in there. Not saying he's bad, but they're just kind of starting over, let's say. So this, might be the time. Might be a good week for them. Sorry.
That could be an interesting one because Dane Evans is good for about a turnover a game, so that could be a decent option. But yeah, I don't know, 3,200, definitely, you know, low risk, high reward situation there. And then for value picks, there is not a lot this week. They are really cheap. They're really making it hard to go and find those cheap guys.
What do we classify it as?
3,500 and under.
Okay, I actually have a pick of mine that's under that.
All right,
and it's a bit of a novelty, but I'm going with a defense, and it's not Winnipeg's this time. I'm going with Montreal's.
Oh, you're also going with Montreal. All right,
32 hundo.
Yeah, nice.
That's interesting. I just have Ryan Davis listed for Ottawa because aside from RJ Harris, he's their second best receiver. So if you really are stuck and you need a low cost flex option, he might be the move for you there. And then let's get into our locks this week. I'm going back to William Stanback because in William Stanback I trust. He's an absolute beast. So for me, it's just if you gotta, he's the guy at running back this year so far, so can't not pick him.
Yeah, that was going to be my lock, so I picked my other running back, Kadeem Carey, who he had 18 points last game through on the ground, and then he had another 4 through the air. So, I think he could have a good game this week. They're playing in Winnipeg, so if the quarterback starts not playing well, they're gonna run the ball. So, or they're gonna pass it off slowly to him. So I think, he could have a good game.
For sure. I don't think he's gonna have the same game he had last week, just because it's the Winnipeg defense. So I don't think he's gonna have as many rushing yards, but I still think that's a good.
No, but I think if nothing's going right for them, the only thing that will be a bit of the ground game. Sorry.
I'm going with Michael Riley for my lock because I believe that he's a little bit of a riskier pick, especially with the way that BC likes to play. But I think when Riley gets going, I've noticed he's got a really high ceiling. And personally, I just feel like I want to start playing a little bit more risky on my fantasy, so that's what I'm going with.
It makes sense. You got to separate yourself from the pack somehow. So
yeah.
Good move there. I also have Michael Riley as my quarterback just because he's looked pretty good against every team. Even that really good Saskatchewan defense, he played well. So against Ottawa, who's also got a good defense, I think he'll be just fine. And let's do our pick'em. Oh, Carter. Okay.
I gotta do that, I guess. I'll figure it out.
It's okay. You're 8-4. You're good. I'm the only one below 500. So,
hey, you're doing better than I think you're on par with the best CFL analyst though.
Yeah,
so
I'll take it. As long as I'm doing well against the CFL boys, I'm doing all right.
That's awesome.
So, for me, I've got the art. Well, we have this assuming the Argos were playing, so I had Toronto, but I guess we're going to ignore that first one. I've got Montreal beating Hamilton just because Hamilton is winless, and I don't think Dane Evans moves the needle enough for them, and Montreal's coming off a game where they are motivated to win this week. So they're probably getting the dub. And then BC against Ottawa. Oh, I'm seeing BC just because I think they're the better team. That offense is still a dumpster fire in Ottawa, but BC can kind of play more both ways, so I think they'll win that game. And then Calgary versus Winnipeg. I think that defense kind of locks up Jake Mayer now that they got him on tape. And yeah, so I got the Bombers winning that one.
Yeah, no, I had Toronto if they played. I'm picking Montreal to beat Hamilton. It's in Montreal, and yeah, Hamilton's winless, so I think Montreal pulls it off. I got Ottawa beating BC. I think just BC going across the country isn't going to have a good effect on them this week, and Ottawa pulls off the win, and they'll get the nice win. And then I think Winnipeg Willie Jefferson, Jackson Jeffcoat, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are going to run all over Calgary, and the only good thing will be Calgary's run game. But Winnipeg wins that game.
I think that this week is going to go exactly how majority of people think it's going to go. I don't see a lot of upsets, so I've got Montreal, BC, and Winnipeg taking the games.
I'm just saying, man, if Ottawa wins, Taylor looks like an absolute genius because he's probably the only person in all of the CFL predictions people that's picking Ottawa. So,
I'm going to look like a genius then because they're going to win.
Yep. Oh, I don't think so, but we'll see.
Hey, I get it though. The game is the game. Sometimes you got to take a stab there to try and again differentiate yourself from the pack, kind of to go full circle.
I gotta catch up to you, Carter. There, you're 8-4.
Yeah, you're one game back. So if that game's actually going to decide if we're tied going into next week or not.
Yeah, we agree on the other ones. So
yeah.
Yep. Speaking of Labor Day weekend, we're going to have an announcement about that later on. So we'll move on to game time cues. Skipping Edmonton and Toronto because that's not happening. Hamilton versus Montreal. If Hamilton loses again, what type of changes are coming?
I I really don't know. They already brought back, I forgot to mention this, they re-signed David Watford this week. So
Really?
so who knows what's going on there right now. But in my opinion, they don't have a run game. Like Sean Thomas Erlington's not the worst, but they don't have an established run game. So if anything changes, they need to bring somebody in that can give them a run game. Because they're not going to fire Steinhauer or any of the coaches or anything.
They got Don Jackson. He's been hurt, so.
Yeah, but he's, even in Calgary, he wasn't the guy.
True.
I'll say that on record.
They got Malik Irons there, though. Don't sleep on him. He was decent before he got hurt in 2019. He's their backup running back at the moment.
Then why are they not using him? That's what I'm saying. They just don't seem like they're going the right way with their running back. So I think they'd have to bring somebody in. It just doesn't seem to click there right now.
Yeah.
Just just relocate the team, put them in Quebec. I don't know. What do you do? What do you do?
That's exactly. What do you do? I'll got the next one there.
Yeah, let's hit the next one. BC versus Ottawa. Which team bounces back this week?
It's Ottawa all day. I'm gonna try to maybe put money on it. We'll see. It'll be good odds for me.
Hey, that would be. Hey, honestly, if there's a game that I would bet on right now, it would in terms of small pay in for big payout. I would say go Ottawa. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
For me, I like the sure things when I bet. So I like the props more because the people who set the odds are American and don't necessarily follow the CFLs closely.
That's what's great about it.
Exactly, that's what's great about it. There's a lot of money to be made there if you really are hardcore and you know what you're talking about. Which I made money last week on the Geno Lewis bet I made that he would get over 45 yards, and sure enough, he did. So
nice.
Yep. See what happens when we actually know who's playing. We make money, and
yeah, right.
Yeah, thanks, BC. And then for me, BC bounces back this week. I think they're building momentum. Mike O'Reilly, I think, is probably almost 100% the starter, so I think they're going to build on that.
I think this is where the BC secondary clicks.
Ooh. Yeah, they got some playmakers back there.
They got Marcus Sales.
Sales, yeah, I really like him. I thought it was a weird decision to put him at safety, but it's paying off.
Apparently, Michael Riley heavily pursued getting Sales on BC.
Oh, I heard about that.
Didn't
he was
want to throw to him
in a game. Yeah, you love to see that though when other players are calling dudes as free agents, be like, "Yo, come to my team, bro."
Oh yeah,
that's dope.
It's better than calling someone as a friend. Don't come here.
Yeah,
no doubt. Hey.
I feel like maybe some Red Blacks people probably did that with their receiving buddies. But yeah, for me, it's definitely BC without a doubt. And then let's jump to Calgary versus Winnipeg. Does Winnipeg bounce back, or does Mayer pick up where he left off against Montreal?
Winnipeg gets the dub. It's in Winnipeg. That crowd's going to be loud. It's after a loss. Winnipeg's not going to lose 2 in a row. So Calgary takes the loss that week for sure.
Yeah, the only way Winnipeg drops 2 in a row is basically if they lose going into. Well, I guess scary thing because. Let the history show. If they drop this game, they're probably dropping 3 in a row because next game is Labor Day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just usually what happens. I hate to say it, but that's just usually what happens. But yeah, I don't think Winnipeg drops this one. I feel like they know that they're going to be going into a tough home and home with Saskatchewan, so I feel like they're going to have to bring the fire.
For me, I'm 100% with you. I think it's Winnipeg. Just after they got embarrassed in front of a grand total of 9,000 people at BMO, or a little over 9,000 people.
Hey,
it's so sad.
James was there though.
Yeah, James was actually there. Let's talk about that a little bit. His feedback, I believe, was that it was a really great game experience, but it was super overpriced, which sounds about right with what I've heard about BMO.
Well, And the problem he's repeatedly said to us too is there's like there's no parking down there, so you have to take transit to get there, but there's no transit spots close to there, so you still have to walk, and yeah, just doesn't seem like a good setup there. But
Yeah, MLSE has to figure something out there. Sure,
but
because...
they fill up for the soccer games though, so it's I
Yeah,
think part of it's an Argo
weird.
problem.
Well, I mean, yeah, I
Or
think
like a
maybe
Toronto problem. Like they don't, do you spend your money on the Jays, the Leafs, the MLSE
the
team, or the
Raptors,
Argos?
you know,
Yeah,
yep.
exactly. And
Like,
you're spending your money on all those other teams before you think of an Argos game.
well, I mean, you should be thinking of an Argos game before MLSE, but for whatever reason, that's just not happening. For me, I don't know how you fix Toronto at this point. I think you have to move them out to the suburbs somewhere, like Mississauga or something. But yeah, I think the transit's a problem. I think they flirted with moving them back to Varsity Stadium because the transit's a little bit better and they played there before. But yeah, I don't know. I listened to James's feedback. Yeah, I think probably price is probably the big issue. They're probably I don't want to say overselling, but overpricing themselves or pricing themselves out of the market because I think I heard the most cheap ticket that you can get is like $80 or $50 or something like that. Like that's ridiculous. Like even at a Riders game,
Really?
you get into Pill Country at a Rider game for like half of that. You know,
It's like it's like $40 for Pill Place, but that's even still like $50 for an Argos game for a like not close seat. That's not good.
That's ridiculous.
Like
Like here, let me
I
say,
pay like $90 for 10 rows up from the rider bench. Like
I'll say like that I believe the cheapest tickets for the Bombers, it was like standing room with like a hot dog and a soda. It was like a game pass thing. It was like $25 a game.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Like yeah, for standing, like for like no, entrance and some food and a drink. Like that's not
Yeah,
bad.
that's a good deal
If
actually.
if you're cool with standing
yeah,
for that long, go for it, dude. That's a great deal.
you get food and a drink with that. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The one time Toronto gets fans in their building is whenever the X is on. I've always noticed that whenever they play at BMO and the X's go on, they get lots of people in there. So yeah, I don't know. It's got to be something with transit or the price because when the
well,
tickets are cheaper or free with the X, people are showing up. It's just yeah.
hold on though. I think your ticket information's incorrect because I'm looking on Ticketmaster right now for the September 10th game, and there's tickets for $30.
Oh, okay. They probably changed it because the information I had's a couple years old, so maybe they
Oh
have
yeah,
lowered prices.
yeah. It's
But
like, yeah, it's. But
still,
that's even
James is saying it's overpriced, and I believe James. You know,
7.
because he's from Berta, but he plays out in Toronto, so it's not like he's a prairie boy that doesn't know things are more expensive out east. It's like no, he knows, and he still thinks it's overpriced.
I'm
So
looking.
he's
So
probably right.
like row 5 on the what is this? The 40 or the 50-yard line. It's $80, $77, including fees and taxes.
It's not even that bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, that's still like, like if you're gonna go spend $80 on a ticket, you're gonna go see the Jays play, or you're gonna go see the Argos. Most Toronto or Torontonians are gonna go see the Blue Jays, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how you fix Toronto at this point, other than moving them to
We
a
could have an
better
episode
stadium.
on that. Yeah.
Honestly, we could. That could be one of our off-season ones: is how to fix low attendance numbers. But
They should just go to the Sky Dome again. That was fun.
yeah, that was a nice stadium, but I guess the Sky Dome and the Blue Jays didn't like them in there, so they kind of punted them out. But
yeah.
for them, I don't know. I think you either move to varsity or move to the burbs somewhere. But yeah. Let's jump to... Oh yeah, we talked about that. So let's jump into our COVID activities, I guess. So my COVID activity, I saw Free Guy on Saturday. Great movie. 100%.
Oh,
I love that movie. Yes, it's super good. 100%. Go watch it. Like
good.
It's one of those things I was nervous about is when you watch these internet movies, sometimes they're super cringe with super outdated jokes or memes, right? And Forget didn't have that. Like, they had a bunch of relevant stuff. They had, like, relevant streamers in there as cameos, which I thought was really cool. And, I mean, they had some solid names in there. Like, you have Ninja, who even normal non-internet people know who Ninja is.
I was gonna say, I know who Ninja is, and I don't watch streamers.
Like, I don't play Fortnite. I guess he's venturing off into other games, I guess, now. But, like, I don't play Fortnite. I know who Ninja is, you know. Pokemane's in there, Jacksepticeye. I know Laser Beam from the Mr. Beast gaming crew is in there. So,
what about Tim the Tapman? That's the only other guy I know.
I do not know him, but he cameos in there. Props.
He is a larger man. He is bald.
Oh, yes. Okay. But yeah, if you're worried about that as an internet person, don't. Like, this is a super good movie. I really liked that they kind of made it like, this is the closest thing we'd ever get to a Grand Theft Auto movie. Like,
okay, cool.
That's how I would describe it, is it's like how you imagine Grand Theft Auto, but from the perspective of an NPC that's actually capable of machine learning, and he thinks he's like an actual person. It's kind of sick. And it's Ryan Reynolds, so you know it's going to be funny.
Yeah. Well, my COVID activities have just been being back to work, and got my wisdom teeth out just over a week ago, so I'm eating solid foods again, which is really nice. And
nice.
Have you guys had your wisdom teeth out before?
Luckily, no.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, if it ever happens, this is what you need to do. Drink 2 liters of pineapple juice the day before, and the swelling, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, so the swelling and pain, it subsided like 1 to 2 days. Like, it helped so much. So just keep that in mind. And I'm just gonna say, and one more COVID activity. My son just started football, so I've been watching him play football. So shout out to Liam, and hoping that kid's gonna be a football star.
Nice.
So for my COVID activity, I've been getting more into watching TV than I've kind of ever been, really. So for me, I've been watching a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The final season's going to be starting soon, if it's not already going up. And I am on season 7, which is the second last season. So I am currently just going through that, probably just a couple episodes every night to try and catch up.
Jake Peralta, what a police officer.
Oh, man, he's the GOAT.
I know my little cousin loves that show, so I might have to go and watch that.
It's pretty good. It's like The Office, but not like, it didn't rely on cringe comedy.
Oh, okay, that could actually be interesting then, because I'm still working my way through Lucifer. I'm on season 4, and you were 100% right about that show. That show's awesome. This is
a good palate cleanser if you're looking for something more lighthearted, but still also not like just like simple comedy. Like, there's like good characters in this.
No, I totally forgot. I've been watching What If. Have you guys watched What If yet?
I've watched. Is the 3rd episode out yet? Because if so,
it came out today.
I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't seen it because I don't know if it ties into like the movies and what they're doing and stuff. I'm waiting for Hawkeye to come back. Oh,
it is. Okay. Like they've said that this is going to be canon. So yeah, you should watch.
Did they tie in like the actual actors to do the voices, or is it other people?
Some of them, like Robert Downey Jr. isn't Iron Man, but like Thor is still voiced by Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, yeah, sick!
Like they got. So this episode was. What if the Avengers died before the Avengers Initiative?
Oh,
and yeah. So they have Nick Fury, like they have Samuel L. Jackson, but they don't have Scarlett Johansson because of her problem.
Oh yeah,
but they had who else? Like what's his name? The guy that plays the Hulk. He played the actual voice. They had
Ruffalo.
Yeah. They had Agent Coulson in there. He played his actual voice, I believe. Yeah, Hawkeye was there for his voice.
I'm sure they offered everybody the actual roles, and then they only looked for new people.
Except ScarJo because of her loss. Probably.
And Dave Bautista also said that he was not asked. There was a big thing on the internet for a couple weeks.
I like him. That sucks.
I was thinking about it, and like I saw a theory on YouTube. I may have told you guys about this, but it was like what happens if in Endgame the other half got snapped away?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so it was like, who sacrifices themselves for the Soul Stone? And it's like, well, which character? Their entire character arc revolves them dying in like a heroic way.
It's got to be Iron Man, right?
No.
No, he would be
Oh!
part of the
He
snapped
would have been
crew.
snapped away.
Oh
would be
crap!
like-
You're right.
So
like
it's
Star-Lord
who's
or Black Panther.
So
Or...
who's gotta go? Whose entire like premise was to die in order to reunite himself with his wife and daughter. It was Drax.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Drax, yeah.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
it made too much sense in that sort of universe for Drax to be the one who dies.
It would have been funny if for somehow it worked out when Drax gets the glove on, he goes, "And I'm Iron Man," and everyone's like, "What?" And then he does the snap.
That would have been that's actually
funny.
really funny. That's
Drax moment, yeah.
funny.
Yeah. And then, yeah, but I don't know. I'll have to
That's
get
it.
into What If, I guess. And yeah,
Oh,
that,
yeah. It's
and
really
it's like
good.
the animation style. I love it.
Oh, it's so crisp, and yeah, it looks so nice.
I still miss the Netflix shows. Like, I'm still hoping they bring some of those back. Like, I really want The Punisher to come back. That was like my favorite show.
That ain't gonna happen. But
That's sad.
The Daredevil Charlie Cox might be in the Spider-Man movie as Tom Holland's lawyer, so we'll see.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah, there's rumors going on. We just haven't seen confirmation yet.
Wasn't there like a rumor that like Tobey Maguire was coming back as Spider-Man?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Wasn't there a rumor? That's like the biggest thing the internet's been talking about.
Yeah, like
for, the
everybody
past 6
wants that
months.
to happen. Like I want that to happen. That's my Spider-Man, you know?
I got blurry pictures on my phone from the internet where people say that's Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire on set and stuff. Yeah, like it's
Oh my god, that'd be sick.
Yeah, well, we got like 117 days to go, so...
Well, they're messing with the multiverse, so 100% we can see those other Spider-Man. That'd be super cool.
Really excited.
Yeah, and I think that's going to wrap up the show. I guess we can talk about the rest of that off air. So you can find us again on our socials at True North CF Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us on Facebook at True North CFL Podcast. And Taylor, you started up a TikTok for us, so I don't use TikTok. I don't use TikTok at all, so I'm just leaving all of that to you. What is our TikTok?
Well, I should probably go look. It's like True North CFL Podcast or something. I haven't been on there in a minute.
Let's change that to True North CF Pod so I can just say it with the other ones.
Not CF or CFL, whatever.
All good.
I can't find the account, but we're on
TikTok somewhere. We'll smooth that out for next week. Go and find us.
True North.
And then, you can also listen to this episode on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. For the True North CF Podcast, I have been Jimmy Leach, and we are signing off.